Namaste. Welcome to Buddha's teaching. My name is Soti Tim. First of all, as is my habit, I just like to pay respect to the Triple Gems. I like to pay respect to the Buddha. I like to pay respect to the Dharma. And I like to pay respect to the Sangha. Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about the first noble truth, right? That the Buddha taught. Life is suffering. So that is what we're going to talk about today. Why the Buddha say life is suffering? Because for many people, they say life is not necessarily all suffering. There are times that we have a good time, and there are times that we, don't have a good time. We all go through stuff. So that's what we're gonna talk today. But before I go into it, I just want to let you all know that I also have podcasts. Okay, just in case any of you want to jump ahead into the teaching, I have a podcast on Spotify. Okay, if you search for Buddha's teaching on Spotify, I have more than 100 episodes there. So I have covered pretty much what I think is need to be said, need to be revealed. So if you want to go ahead and jump to that, you want to go ahead, of the video here, and that is fine. So it's on Spotify. It's called Buddha's teaching. Okay. So the first noble truth, right? Life is suffering. Is it true or not? So this is a question that you have, and that's one of the reasons why you click on this video, right? So the reason that you click on the video is probably there's a couple of reasons, of course, at least, that you heard about Buddhism, about Buddha's teaching, and you heard that it's a religion that teach peacefulness, happiness, how to calm the mind, how to cure the suffering that we all have. So that's for some of you, and some has issue and looking for a way out, looking for answer, how to make themselves feel better because they have something going on in their life, right? And of course we all know that you and I, I'm already at this age, and I have gone through life's ups and downs just like everyone else. But the reason that I do this podcast and do this video is because I believe the teaching is very important and is very beneficial to every single one of us. That's why I'm doing this, so that I can share what I've learned in Buddhism and you all can benefit from it. Okay, so it's something that I feel good to do, to share the wisdom, the knowledge that the Buddha has left for us. So Buddha's teaching, in a way, is like a medicine for us. If we don't have issue, if we don't have a problem in life, then there's no need for Buddha's teaching. If your life is totally fine, totally in a good mood, good status all the time, you always have happiness in your life, your family, things going well. There's no, there won't be any Buddha's teaching. But the thing is that we all, as you and I know, we all go through life, and there are times that things, unexpectedly come up out of, out of nowhere, that we say, and boom, we have issue. And an issue that is what we call suffering, right? So that's what the Buddha taught. So the Buddha is like a doctor, okay? he understand the suffering of human being, of everyone. Okay, he understand the suffering, and so he's a doctor. So what does he do? He cure people, right, from the suffering, from the problem that we have on a day-to-day basis. So his teaching is like a medicine. Okay, so his teaching is like a medicine. They say, okay, this is what you do. Okay, yes, understand that life, there is suffering in life. Okay, and life is suffering has many level of understanding. As we go along, as we go forward, you know, we'll get uh, to know, to understand deeper level of different kinds of stuff of suffering that the Buddha talks about. But at the beginning, at first, we start with the gross level, at the high level that we all lay people, we experience through our lives. The suffering that we all have, doesn't matter what it is. So the teaching that the Buddha left for us is like a medicine. Okay, so the doctor, of course, when we sick, when we go to the doctor has to find out first what kind of sickness we have, right? In order for the doctor to prescribe us the medicine, or whatever the procedure that the doctor needs to do. So it's the same thing. This is it's a very same approach from the Buddha. So the Buddha is a doctor. So he said, okay, there's a lot of sufferings in life. Okay, so first of all, in order to cure us, the Buddha said we need to understand what is it that is causing us, giving us suffering. And first of all, the Buddha said, okay, what is the disease? Right? The disease is we call suffering, right? The sickness is the suffering that we have. So first of all, the doctor said, okay, let's look at your disease, look at your sickness, um, understand your sickness first. Okay, before we do anything else, we have to understand what the disease is, what the sickness is that we all have. Okay, that is where we start in the journey in finding a way out of our sickness, of our disease that we have. So that's where we are. Okay, so you and I, we are human beings. We go through life, ups and downs, right? It's just like, one day it's sunny, the next day is stormy, right? So on a sunny day, we are fine. Okay, we are good. We are enjoying our life. We laugh and we, going around doing stuff, doing things that we enjoy, and that is fine. But there are times when there's storm, there's hurricane. Okay, what do we do? Okay, for us, I mean, it's in physical world. Obviously, when it rains and it storms, we run into shelter, right? We protect ourselves. We build a wall. We build a roof of a house. Okay, make sure there's no hole, there's no leaks. Okay, to protect ourselves from the storm, from the hazard, and of the wind and the rain and the snow, right? So so with that, we need to understand. We need to know. Okay, how do we do that, right? So first, we need to learn the first noble truth here is about the suffering. Okay, about the element that we have. That's lesson number one, that the Buddha want us to study, because the Buddha is gone, of course, but he left us the teaching, the lesson that we need to go through. Okay, we need to follow if we want to be out of this misery, out of this sickness that we have, the suffering that we have. There's a way out. So there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Okay, so you are at the right place right now. Okay, as we start the journey, as you start the journey, I have already started on my way, and some of you already have, and some of you are new. Okay, so the journey is, of course, begin with step number one. This is step number one. Okay, the first noble truth: get to know suffering, what it is. Get to know the sickness, what it is. First of all, and after that, we'll go on into the next, other step. So, step number one is suffering is illness, and we all know illness or sickness can arise at any time, right? So, what are those illness or sickness that we have that we call suffering? There are two kinds of sufferings that we experience, that we all experience. Okay, one is the sickness from the body. Okay, as we know, we have health issue that come up. Okay, so we have pain. Okay, it's called physical pain. So disease or virus attack, right, such as COVID, flu, whatnot, different bacteria coming from unsanitized water, food, or whatnot that come from outside that attacks us and make us sick, right? Give us pain, and that is the physical sickness, right? That's a pain to the body, and that causes us suffering, right? That is one kind of suffering. The the different disease that we have, you name it. I mean, we all know this um, cancer, right? We have diabetes, um, all kinds of disease, right? So that sickness, the physical sickness, is one form of suffering. Okay, so that form of suffering, when we experience that, when the body give us pain, okay, um, of course we need to go see a doctor, a physical doctor. Okay, so that's the part that we do. Okay, we the Buddha's teaching is not about the physical illness, okay, but it's about the suffering that affects us from in the mind, okay. The suffering, the pain that we have in our body affects our mind, because as you and I know who we are, we identify ourselves with two things, okay. We identify ourselves with this body here, as also with a mind, okay. So these two interact with each other. The body affects the mind, and the mind also affects the body, okay. So when the body is sick, okay, it creates a mental suffering, okay. uh, what does that mean? It means that when we're sick and we say, oh, why me, why at this time, I don't want to be sick, okay. You're not happy, and today is supposed to be my special day, or whatnot, you now you have negative thinking, you have uh, negative emotion toward the sickness in the body, and so that is the effect of the sickness from the body that affects our mind, affects our mental health. Okay, so that is one way. So what do we do when we are sick? Of course, we need to take care of the body, right? Take ourselves to see the doctor to get the medicine, right? So that that is the sickness of the body. But so Buddha's teaching concentrate with the mind, okay, the mental suffering that we have, okay, because we have tremendous suffering coming from this, right? So this is the main concentration of Buddha's teaching. Okay, it doesn't mean that the Buddha does not did not recognize the physical pain, but that is not what Buddha's teaching main concentration is. Okay, so main concentration is the element is of the mind. That so the first noble truth teach about the suffering that arise from the mind. Okay, so as we all know, every one of us, all right, we nobody want to have issue in life. We all want to have a happy life, of course. We want to enjoy the things that we have, our family, as friends and relatives and all. In our life, we just want, we all just want to be comfortable and have a good life. Okay, nobody wants to have issue, but they keep arising from time to time. Okay, not according to what we want, right? Unexpectedly, and it happens. And someone near and dear who sick. Okay, and then sick, and then unfortunately they die or they pass away. Major grief, right? Especially is it if that happens to your little children. Okay, it's a major headache, major heartache. Okay, and it causes all kinds of the stress, the it's like it's like a dark cloud, set on top of you. Say, oh my God, things like that. So it's that gives you really pain in the heart, and it affects your physical body. Okay, so that is how the mind affects the body. When the mind is in a deep distress, or the Buddha calls sickness. Okay, believe it or not, that is called a sickness of the mind. Yes, we think, oh, I'm human being, I have feeling, I grieve, I have anxiety. That is in Buddhism, in Buddha's teaching, the Buddha point to, that is actually the ailment, that is actually the sickness, that is the suffering that the Buddha talks about. Okay, so we need to acknowledge that, and realize that that is called a sickness. Okay, um, that is not normal. But we, as lay people, we think that is just part of life, that is normal. The Buddha said, no, that is the sickness of the mind. So that's why we need to understand that, right? The first noble truth, that is the sickness of the mind. The When you have this heartache, you have this stress, the depression that we have from the separation, the breakup, okay, the sickness of the body that we experience, okay, all this suffering, not only physical suffering, but also mental suffering, that is a sickness. And so that sickness is something that we first, number one, we need to recognize it. Okay, I have a sickness in my mind. Okay, that is what we need to know, because that is not normal. We have a sickness. I have a sickness in my mind. Okay, it's not normal, and that's not what you want, but it happens, right? That you don't want to feel, oh, that you don't feel, you don't want to feel tight in your heart. You don't want to feel that pressure, like the world is ending or something. That's not what we want. Okay, but it happens, right? That is what called the first noble truth. Okay, we have to recognize that. That is the number one. What else that we have? Okay, the suffering that we have suffering from the past. Okay, things happen. Okay, we're sad, we get sad, and and sadness lead to depression. Okay, why did it happen like that? It shouldn't happen like that. Okay, or we have some kind of resentment toward people that had done something in the past to us, and that is in the back of the mind. It just it the it just can't, it just doesn't go anywhere, it just stay there. Every time you think about it, you feel um, you feel sad, you feel angry, you know about things that happened, last week, last month, last year, or 10 years ago. Doesn't matter, it's still here, it's still in here, right? It's still in you. So that is of course a form of suffering, right? So the that is the feeling that we are human go experience, every single one of us. Okay, so that's another form of suffering. All right, what else? We have worry. Okay, we have fear. Okay, especially worry and fear, or also we have anxiety, and that is about the what is not here yet, right? We have worry, we have fear. It's about the future. The mind keep thinking, what if this, and oh, if that happened, what's gonna happen to me? What's gonna happen to my children and my family, and all of that, that is going inside your head. Okay, all of that negative thinking, and it goes from one thought to another. Okay, and it keeps going, it keeps going, it keeps going. And when a person is in that kind of mode, okay, about worrying, um, have some kind of anxiety inside, okay, or fear, the person looks like this. When even though when they because they're not aware of themselves, when they're thinking of something, of fear, it's like this. you know um so you can tell. Okay, you can tell the person is in a deep thought or something, right? Not pleasant. Okay, so that is a form of suffering that can also lead you to not a good place, right? As we all know, worry, great anxiety, and then when you keep thinking, especially when you're alone at night, when you're all by yourself, okay, uh, that worry, that thinking keeps coming up, and you have a sleepless night. Of course, you cannot sleep, and that, of course, when you cannot sleep, it affects the body. Okay, so when that happens, the the element of the mind affects the body, make the body sick, because the body is a special independent entity that it's just function just like a car. you know the body needs a rest, needs to be recharged at night. Okay, it's just like a car. The car cannot run all the time, it needs cool down period. Cannot keep running. It get overheated. The engine get overheated, so it needs a resting period. So the body is the same, and but when this thing here is sick, all right, when the mind is sick, it affects this body, and this body cannot sleep. Okay, and when the body cannot sleep, when the body generate pain, right? When the body generate pain, it then affects the mind, right? It affects the mind and makes the mind, oh, why now I'm in such a pain. You see how the thing works like that. So that's why it's important to take care of this. When this is sick from whatever virus, from the food that we consume, we need to take care of this with the way of medicine. Okay, take a medicine, go to see the doctor and stuff. But when this is sick, okay, we don't know what to do. That's for most of us. That's why the Buddha say, okay, you come to the right place. Okay, first things first. Step number one, know your sickness. The first noble truth. Okay, know your sickness. All right. So when you have anxiety, you have fear, you have worry, it's all about the future, right? And as some of you know, if you're familiar with Buddha's teaching, you know that a lot of time we encourage about living in the present moment, right? But it is difficult for a lot of people to understand that concept. Even for me, when I started out years and years ago, when I hear the word be present, live in the present moment, I have no clue what they're talking about. Okay, they say, what you mean living in present? This is I'm living right now. What are you talking about? Okay, I had no clue that they're talking about this. Okay, they're talking about this mind here, that thinking about the future, the worry and stuff like that. And then see, that's what I was not aware that my mind was sick. Okay, my mind was sick back then until I come to study the teaching, the Buddha's teaching. Then I know. Oh, okay. So that's what happened. When that happened, okay. So that is the sickness of my mind, right? And it can be cured, right? See, that's a good thing. But that's for next time. Now we just need to know those different elements, different things that go through our mind, the different kind of sickness. I know we not gonna be able to know it all, but we're gonna have to understand the majority of it that cause the problem right now, right? So what else that cause us problem? Okay, what else? We as human being, you and I, we all have what we call desire, right? We want this, we want that. We don't want this, we don't want that, right? Things happen. If it happens according to what we want, right? Good, we're happy. But something happened not according to what we want, no, this one, like that. So that cause what? Cause friction, right? And desire. So desire is one root, right? That it's branching a little bit into the cause, but the cause of the suffering. But so desire create this longing, create this attachment. Okay, and when things happen does not happen what according to what we want, we have issue. That is called suffering also, right? So in one form of desire that most of the people are not aware of. Let's say you're in a car, right? Riding with your spouse, with your sibling, your parents, your friends, okay? And then you have conversation, of course. You talk about this, talk about that, talk about in-law. Oh, okay. Talk about in-law, talk about the future, about the kids and stuff like that. And we all have opinion. And we want this to happen, and the other person want that happen. And before you know it, the conversation is like that, right? Back and forth. Before you know it, this one say, no, this way is the right way. This one say, no, you're wrong. This way is the right way. One thing loosely to another, all of a sudden, it's just like that. Boom. You have argument. right? You have argument, and this happens a lot. At least as far as I know, I have gone through that a lot myself. That's why I'm letting you know. You are a human being. You're going through it too. Okay, with your wife, with your kids, with your parents, your brother and sister. One thing you know, boom, you have a fight. Okay, that I know for a fact. I'm a human being. I've gone through it, but now I understand it. That it comes from this and that. Now it's your turn to learn. Right? If you want to understand what goes on in there, okay. If you want to, we all go through it. Okay, it doesn't matter how old you are, especially it starts from the age when you're in school. Little ones have their own little issue, but they don't hold grudge that much. But as you grow older, when you go into high school, you start dating, you start trying to be popular, starting to fit in, right? See, it's starting. The issue start, right? And goes into your college age, goes into middle age, okay? All of this is happening all the time, and at different level, we experience issue, okay? Because we are social animal, okay? We are an animal on this planet, okay? We cannot live alone. We depend on each other. But the problem is when we talk to each other, we have this tendency of I, okay? And my opinion versus yours, my idea versus yours. And this I and this I, like this, when they don't agree. And that causes major suffering, major issue. And that causes conflicts and war, of course. Okay, because of I. All right, so that is another form of suffering. Okay, there are many other forms of suffering that can be, the suffering can be small that leads to something big, right? Small that leads to something big. So this is the majority of the ailment of the suffering of the mind that we all go through. Okay, that we all go through, and it's not permanent. Okay, remember that it's not permanent. So whether you are having issue right now or you don't, okay, nothing stay the same. Remember that. Okay, nothing stay the same. I was in miserable situation before. Okay, I came from Cambodia. Right, right now I live in the United States. But if you all know history, from 1975 to 1979, half of the country in Cambodia was wiped out, gone, killed, starved to death. I was there. Okay, so I was in the war, and I was in the starving, in the camp. I was, uh, you know, whatever is gone, but suffering. That's what it was. Okay, so now that we understand that you and I, we are not, when we go through things, just remember that a lot of time most people think that the world is crumbling, that they are in this little compartment all by themselves, right? You are not. You are not the only one. Every one of us go through this, and all you have to do is sit back and relax, okay, and say, This is life. I'm gonna get through this. Okay? I'm gonna get through this. There is light at the end of the tunnel. Okay? I have gone through it. I've seen the light. Okay? I've seen the light. So that's the reason why I'm doing this, because a lot of people who have not seen the light, I want to show them by Buddha's teaching. Okay? That Buddha's teaching has a way out to liberate us from all of this commotion that we are experiencing. Okay, so first step first. So this step number one, right? Congratulate yourself that you are on your path, on your own path, not mine, not anyone else. You are on your own path to understand you, to understand you, the element and all that, and you're going to cure it. You're going to heal it. You're going to heal this, and you're going to be liberated. See, there's light at the end of the tunnel. So if this is important to you, then stick around. Okay? Until then, I hope you're all doing well. All right? Namaste.